This is some strange lighting. I don't know about this. I got this new tripod for my birthday, and I'm loving it. Alright. I feel like I gotta do it right here just so I can get Indy in the background right there. What's up, everyone? First review of 2019. I plan to be doing more of these, so if you like my opinion on movies, this is probably for you. I would like to clarify that the first half of this video is going to be spoiler free, and the second half of this video is going to contain heavy amounts of spoilers. Warning, there are opinions in this video. So if you're not a fan of opinions, you can always click to something else. So Unbreakable is the third movie. It's a sequel to... I messed it up. So Glass is the third movie in a superhero trilogy directed by M. Night Shyamalan. The first being Unbreakable, the second being Split, and then Glass. I loved Unbreakable. I'm gonna be honest, going into this movie, I haven't seen Unbreakable in a long time, but I remember loving it when I watched it. And then Split was a really awesome surprise. It was a movie I thought was going to, but it ended up being really great. James McAvoy in that movie and his many personalities really intrigued me, and I wanted him to go to the Oscars that year, but as you know, the Oscars don't roll that way. So, what did I think of Glass? Glass is interesting. It's really cool seeing all three of these characters in the same movie, because watching Split, I had no idea that it was a sequel to Unbreakable. I had absolutely no idea until you saw the ending of the film. Going into this movie, it was kind of weird, because, you know, you have your DC movies with all of those characters being tied together. You have your Marvel movies, those being super tied together. So it's weird having a controversial director. I say that because he's a hit or miss. It's weird seeing his own kind of, you know what I'm trying to say, connected superhero universe thing. So it was really cool. Going into it, I was more so curious than excited. It was a movie I wanted to see, but I just kept forgetting it was coming out. Glass. It starts off freaking awesome. First 20 minutes of the film, I freaking love the way it's set up at first. There is definitely slow part in the middle, but I didn't really view it as slow because I was invested in it. Third act is where I kind of start pumping a little bit of brakes. First act of the movie, flawless, just freaking fantastic. Second half of the movie, I think that's where people are going to zone out the most. I personally loved it because it's in the psychiatric ward for the entire second act of the movie, and it raises some really cool questions about kind of like who we are and how we view ourselves versus how other people view us. So I thought that was a really, really cool little thing to do with a superhero twist. I liked that. The third act of the movie is where I start getting some problems. I will not discuss those problems yet, because this is the spoiler-free section. The third act, Shyamalan does a Shyamalan. If you watch his movies and you know his movies, you know exactly what I'm talking about. He pulls a Shyamalan, and I respect him for doing things other directors and movie filmmakers, writers, etc. I respect him for doing what others would not. Whether or not that was the right thing for this movie, I'll leave that up for debate. Personally, it didn't really sit with me. It kind of sets up an ending that doesn't feel earned, if that makes sense. It'll make more sense in the spoiler section of this video. Is Glass worth... Here's what you're here for. Is Glass worth watching in the movie theater? I would say, if you're a fan of Unbreakable, check it out. If you love Split, James McAvoy as Kevin is worth the ticket price alone. I would definitely go see it, if anything, just for him. He's just freaking awesome. Samuel L. Jackson, Bruce Willis, they're both great. They're both great in the movie. A little bit not in the movie as much as I thought. If anything, the movie kind of feels like more of a split sequel than an Unbreakable. You get some of Dunn, you get some of Glass, but you get a whole bunch of Kevin. Is the movie worth watching? I would say check it out, form your own opinion about it. I can't tell if this is going to be a polar movie or if people are generally going to have the same opinion about it. I don't know. I have to do a rating system for these films. So until that's made, we're going to go through a 1 through 10 system. So I would give the movie probably a solid 6. A solid 6. This is the spoiler part of the video, so if you don't want any spoilers, turn away now. Glass. Alright. I really enjoyed seeing where Dunn's character was after all these years. It makes sense. He's working with his son. He is, oh god, what do they call him in the movie? I don't remember what his superhero name is, according to internet people, but I kind of dug it. Like, he just kind of, like, paroles and just kind of walks around looking for things, bumping into people. He's wired in with his son, who is doing a bunch of research and kind of figuring out things for his dad so he can go and, take some people down. And I really liked that. The whole beginning of this movie is him trying to hunt down Kevin. And that whole scene is pretty great because you have one character who knows he's a superhero, Dunn, and then you have another who thinks he's a special kind of beast god thing. So when they go at it, it's kind of like, they're both kind of like, wait, how are you able to hold me back? And it's like, wait, how are you able to hold me back? Like I said in the spoiler-free section, the whole freaking second act is them in the psychiatric ward. So Bruce Willis' character, James McAvoy's character, they're in the psychiatric ward, and this lady comes in, and she is there to... She has 3 days to make them believe that they are not superheroes. So the whole middle section of the movie is a giant, beautiful character study. Love it. Like I mentioned, it makes you ask some really interesting questions and has a kind of interesting message. So I really dug that. It wasn't like in your face about it. It was just kind of subtly put into play, and I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. During this whole part, it's mostly focused on Kevin, James McAvoy's character. And Bruce Willis is kind of sidelined for a good little bit. Like, you see him, but you don't really follow his story like you do with James McAvoy's character. Same for Mr. Glass. He's there, but he's not until towards the end of the second act. And then you kind of start to see that he's been planning this breakout in a meeting with the Beast. And then you're kind of like, oh. So then you have this whole breakout sequence with Mr. Glass and the Beast. And it's freaking awesome. His plan is a little comic booky. I'm not going to roll with that because I know people are going to get upset if I say that. His plan is, like, going into this, I'm not expecting an Avengers film, but it was kind of like an Avengers type of plan that he had, villain-wise. The third act takes place outside of the psychiatric ward. So the second half is in it, the third act is outside of it. And it's the giant battle between all three of them. And this is where he pulls the Shyamalan. He has them, all three of them, killed. The lady who is doing the psychiatric evaluations on them, she works for this, she's part of this giant secret organization that hunts down superhuman people and kills them. Their ideology being that for 10,000 years there is balance, and these superhuman people are kind of disrupting that balance, so they need to be put down. Mr. Glass gets freaking yoked out of his wheelchair and breaks every freaking bone in his body. That was hard to watch. Then you have James McAvoy's character. I forget her name. Was it Casey from Split? She convinces Kevin to come out, and right as he's coming out and you're like, heck yeah, he's gonna be okay, he gets shot. Really, really bad. She's holding him in her arms, and one by one you see each personality fade away from the light and die, one at a time. And it's pretty sad. David Dunn, is it David Dunn? Dunn's character, James McAvoy, and him previous to McAvoy getting shot, they fight, they duke it out, and then he yoked him into a giant water container. Dunn finally manages to break a hole into it, they kind of flood out. And so he's pretty weak. Out of nowhere, once Glass is dying and freaking James McAvoy's character is bleeding out, these SWAT guys come over to him, drag him over into this little pothole in the road where water has filled up, and they just freaking drown him and kill Dunn. So Shyamalan has all three of these characters die, and that's where I'm interested. I want to know what his thought process was. I'm very The movie was doing so good, minor problems, but it was doing super, super good, and then he makes this decision for the story. I respect him for doing something different. He's a director that will do things others won't. I'll give him credit there. But I'm a little curious as to what made him choose this kind of an ending over a different kind of an ending. I'm not asking for a traditional superhero film kind of ending. I'm just wondering, why have all the cool characters killed off? I don't know. This is where I feel weird about the movie. I'm still trying to evaluate it. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. It didn't feel earned. And I don't know how to describe it. It's just the whole movie was building up to one thing, and then it takes a hard turn, and it just kind of goes weird. I don't know. Like I said earlier, I give the movie a 6 out of 10. I definitely recommend you watching it for your own opinions on it. It's really confusing. If you liked my video review of this movie, Glass, make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel. You can also follow me on social media. You can follow me on Instagram. You can follow me on Twitter. You can follow me on Facebook. And if you want me to do more of these, let me know, because I would love to do more of them. I'll try to have a better kind of plan. Not really sure the best way to say it. Until next time.